Welcome to my Sunday series, Crochet With Me, where I crochet something I don't have time for, but I'm making time because I'm doing it a video. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelly and I am a crocheter here in New Brunswick, Canada. And today you're going to sit down with me and crochet for the next 20-25 minutes. So grab your yarn, grab your hook or even needles if you're knitting, and let's sit down and crochet something together. So what I am working on is a sweater. I'm going to turn you around to my computer. It's called the Saltwater Taffy Tee. And here it is. So that's what I'm going to work on. I will try and link it in the description, but it is a free pattern, which is always nice. And I'm going to work mine up in a large. And this is the color I'm working with. It is a Caron Cake Cotton Cake in the color of Calico Flowers. So, and I got my Clover 4mm hook. So let's get into it. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to start, I'm doing a size large. So I need to cast on 88 stitches. So I'm going to turn this off while I put on 88 stitches, or you're just going to be sitting here for like 2 minutes not doing anything. So get your work, get your stitches on, and then let's come back and I'll do a story time. All right, so I got my 88 chains done, and looks like I just have to double crochet for like 30 rows. Really exciting. All right, so I had to put you guys down a little bit because I felt like I had to like lean right in. All right, so double crochet for like 30 rows. So perfect time for a story. So I did put out on my social medias and here on YouTube if you have any questions about crochet, but I didn't get any questions. Womp womp. But that's okay, because I'm sure the questions will come. So I thought today I would just share how I became a crocheter. But before I talk about how I became a crocheter, I want to know, what are you working on? Let me know in the comments while you watch this video, what are you going to be working on? I know I like to watch Crochet With Me videos while I'm working on something as well. So I always want to know, what are other people, what are you working on while you're sitting and relaxing on a Sunday getting some work done? Okay, so how did I get started in crochet? So I have shared that I am 41 as of 2023. Oof. I gotta stop saying that, jumpins. So I got started about the age of, it was between the age of 6 and 8. I'm not really sure. I just know that I was like in elementary school. My mother is a yarnaholic as well, so she always had something on the go. Just for reference, my mother and I do not get along. She disowned me a few years ago. That's another story. She was hardly ever home growing up. she was either working or sleeping, and if she wasn't working or sleeping, she was eating and making something with yarn. So that is why I have the same kind of traits, because that's how I grew up, right? Anyway, so my mom was always so busy doing her own thing while I was little, and we lived out in the middle of nowhere, that she did not teach me how to crochet. But since we were in the middle of nowhere, there was nothing to do, nobody to play with, I would just sit there and watch her knit or crochet. And she would go through phases of knitting a lot, and then she would switch back over to crochet a lot, and back and forth. So I kind of just picked up where whatever she was doing, I learned just by watching her. So I remember when I was a little bit older, her saying, you knit backwards, or you crochet backwards. And I'm like, well, that makes sense, because I was never taught. I just watched you, and it would be backwards for me. So that's how I got started. I think the first project I ever made was a blanket, and I still actually have it. I will dig it out and put a video at the end here. But I don't know how I convinced my mom to get me this yarn, or maybe it was yarn left over from a project she had been working on and she was just going to throw it out. But anyways, I convinced her that I wanted to make a blanket, and she didn't think that I could make a blanket, first of all, because I had never been taught how to do that sort of thing. So I don't know, she took pity on me or whatever and gave me the yarn. And as I was working it up, I thought, like, if I ever have children, I'm going to wrap all my babies in this, and I'm going to keep it forever. And I had shared that with her, and I got the whole like narcissistic, like, no one's ever going to love you, you're never going to have children, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward to like a lot of years later, I was able to wrap all 3 of my babies in this blanket. So they're all boys. It is a pink and yellow and blue and purple, I think. I will definitely put it at the end of this video for you guys to see. So that was my first major project. I remember I loved playing with dolls when I was a little girl, and like we grew up with like not a lot of money, and I remember just like taking scraps of my mom's yarn and making my doll clothes for my dolls. So I remember doing that. So that's funny, that's basically what I do now. 1 row done. So I remember making doll clothes. I think when I was in like middle school, but we used to call it junior high. So when I was in middle school, I kind of stopped working with yarn just because I was getting very depressed. So anyways, like I said, that's a whole other story, and I don't want to ruin the crochet vibe. Then I probably didn't pick up any hooks or needles till I think I was like 19, and I was pregnant with our first child. He just turned 21, by the way. And his nursery was going to be all Winnie the Pooh. It was all Winnie the Pooh themed. When I worked at Zeller's, they had bought, my husband and I, a Winnie the Pooh crib set, because that's what I wanted my son's nursery in. So I found this pattern for crocheted Winnie the Pooh characters. I could not make them. You would call that amigurumi now. I could not figure out all those symbols and whatnot. And this is before like YouTube videos, if there was YouTube. I don't know about it. You know, I don't even think we got a computer until like that year, so I don't know. So that's what I tried to make for my son, and that did not work. And then I just got busy being a mom. So we had our oldest boy in 2002, and then we had our second boy in 2004. And when my middle boy was going off to kindergarten, I started working with my friend in her home daycare. And there was like, you know, quiet time. We had like all kids who needed naps, like 2-hour naps. So there wasn't much to do. So I bought my knitting in and I would work on that. And then my friend learned how to knit. And then we would just knit at quiet time. But then like I found kids always get into my bag, and I would find it so frustrating that they would just rip the needles right off, and then you would have to like go back. Like sometimes knitting is not like crocheting. If you lose a stitch, you could lose your whole project. So I decided to get out my crochet hooks again, because at least if they took, like, the hook didn't need to stay on there, and if they pulled a couple of stitches out, it wasn't the end of the world. So I started, like a year later, I started working on crochet hats and made hats for all the daycare kids. There was like 10 of them, so I made them all. Hats. The boys got like newsboy hats because those were really big, and girls got just a crocheted simple hat with a big flower on it. I think that's all. I started maybe selling to friends and family my crocheted hats, and then I stopped crocheting again for a while because taking care of the kids were getting older and more like active and stuff like that, so not a lot of sitting time. I picked it up again, like I would just do it for fun. It wasn't something that I had to do every single day like it is now. So let's see. So I think in 2014 I had our last son, and he's turning 9 this year. Holy crap. So once he was about like 2 years old or so and less active, because he was a very active baby. He was a good boy, but very active. Like he always needed to be busy. He was always into everything. So by then I started working by myself after he was 4 months old. So I had about 4 or 5 daycare kids of my own, and it was winter time and I wanted to do something for them, so I started knitting hats for my kids, and I would knit them new hats like in the spring, because it's still like we're in Canada, so it's still a bit chilly in the spring, and then I would knit them new hats for the fall. So then I realized that, oh my goodness, it would take me like 2 or 3 weeks just to make a knitted hat for all 5 of the littles. So I just decided to start crocheting them again. And then about 2000 and let's say 18, I started to get more confident in putting my stuff on Facebook for people to see. Just doing very basic, so mostly knitting mittens and hats and headbands, and these headbands took off in like 2019, so I think I made like $300 just in one season just by knitting headbands. And I posted about doing custom work on Marketplace, and I had somebody reach out to me to make my first amigurumi, and I was scared to death to do this because I didn't want to screw up. I never made anything like that before, and doll hair scared the crap out of me because I'm like, how do you do this? So my first amigurumi doll was Harry Styles with the pink shirt. So that was my first amigurumi, and I think I did a really good job. Like, the customer really liked it, so I was happy with that. In 2020, COVID hit, and I had to close my daycare for 2 months. So going from working like 60-ish hours, like 50 working hours plus 10 hours for like cleaning and cooking and all that housekeeping stuff, because you're working from your own home, to doing nothing instead of just laying in bed all day and being stressed out because I didn't know what the heck was going on, and I need to know what's going on in order to feel safe. I picked up my crochet hooks again, and I just started working on different patterns and testing things out and putting them on Facebook, and then people were like, oh my god, I gotta have that, sort of thing. So in August of 2020, I opened up my Facebook group, and I've had a few other Facebook groups before for my yarn work, called Yarn Around with Kelly, and I got quite a few orders. Since then I've made so many things. I can't believe how my stuff is it just makes people smile and happy, and I just love when customers write to me once they get home, be like, oh my god, I can't believe it. And I had a lady pick up a dolly last week, and like, she was in tears when she saw the doll. So I love that. I love that my stuff can make people feel that. And last year, I guess I'll just touch on real quick about my dolls, but I maybe might go into a little bit more detail another time if you want to actually hear about those. So basically, for my dolls, why I got started with my dolls, so you can check out dolls 4, the number 4, all 23 on Instagram to go see dolls over there. I had somebody mention it before, and then I did have a friend who lives in another city here in New Brunswick asked me if I could make naked dolls with detachable hair so that she could have them for her preschool, and they would like use fabrics and elastics and ribbons and all that stuff to decorate the dolls for like a center kind of a thing. So I had posted about these 4 dolls, and I think it got shared by like 6 people, and 1,500 people saw that post. So then after that, I just had people being like, when are you going to do more things like that? And da da da. And I'm like, I don't know, like, guys, like, I work full time. How am I going to do this? And then I think in the fall, I really started thinking, you know what, maybe I need to make these dolls. And so I tested the waters and people were really interested. So in January of this year, 2023, I had made my first doll, and it's a gender neutral doll because that is important. And people got my son, my youngest son, he picked out the doll color and the color of the doll's hair, and he picked out the doll's shirt and pants. This doll is not the end result doll. It was just, let's see if I can make a nice doll. So anyways, I put it to a vote on Facebook, and I gave the name options of Ollie, Morgan, and there was one more name. I can't remember. So anyways, people voted, and the doll's name is Morgan, and I still have that doll. My dolls have come a long way. So when I am done this, I will dig out Morgan and a current doll and show you the difference, because yeah, I just love them so much. And I cannot believe that since January of 2023 that I have made 53 or 54 dolls. Like, I can't believe that these dolls are so popular. I am still booked till like the middle of June with doll orders. Like, it's just amazing. Although I am done my full-time job June 22nd, so I do have to raise my prices because my crochet business will now be my full-time income, and then I will work part-time on the weekends and evenings, that sort of thing. So I do have to raise my doll prices. So this morning, before getting on here, I did spend some time on Canva, and I created my doll pricing pamphlet, and I'm very excited about that. It's nothing crazy. They're still going to be affordable, but people are really going to be paying for being able to make these dolls all their own. And I probably will have to raise them a bit for my Etsy shop when I set that up. I'm going to start working on that soon, but I want to have a bulk order, a bulk of doll bodies made so that I can get the dolls out a little bit faster. So you guys will be coming along with me while I create an Etsy shop. I'm almost done this row, guys. So I think, yeah, we're at like 20 minutes of just me talking. So I think that's going to be it for today. I figured a 20-minute video plus like all the other stuff would be good for Sunday mornings, just for us to sit and work on a project together. And this will keep me motivated to work 20 minutes a week on this sweater. So I'll show you what I got done. So I got this much done. I love the colorway so far. So I got 5 rows done. Not too bad. So how much work did you get done today while we sat and talked? All right, so I'm going to be working on this every Sunday with you guys. I'm going to try to film it in the morning and post it before the afternoon so you can have a Sunday crochet with me. Thank you so much for coming along today. Like I said, let me know what you're working on, how much you got done, and we will see you next Sunday. But here are some clips of the baby blanket and my Morgan doll and my most current doll. Thanks for watching. All right, so here's the colors. As you can see, I did not know how to sew in. Here's the colors, and it's quite long and it's quite wide. So I wrapped all my babies in this. Maybe one day I'll be able to wrap grandchildren in it. Maybe. Doesn't matter. It's okay. I can wrap cats or guinea pigs in it. It's fine. So this is Morgan. So she is very floppy. I have learned tricks to stop making their heads so floppy. But here's the hair. And my son picked out her bright colored shirt and green pants. Now this is my most current doll that I just finished for a customer. She is native inspired, so this is just like a ribbon dress. So here's the difference in the two dolls. I've come a long way. But Morgan will always be a sweet little doll, a sweet little reminder on my new business.